the things that you are alleging to be white crimes, and we haven't even really gone into contesting the specifics. We can probably go into that later in the discussion. What I'm saying, you're grouping together, you're saying that basically it is in our nature. We have a devilish nature. The way in which we go about organizing our societies is fundamentally evil and immoral and so on from your perspective. And so what I'm saying is that from my perspective, the outcome of us creating our own nations and running our own nations is magnificence. I love the civilization that we create. I love the kind of societies we generate. I love the kind of politics we try to assert. I think our society, our civilization historically, not anymore now it's generated, but historically was the most noble and magnificent civilization, Western civilization in world history. And the actions that were taken to generate it, therefore, carry that as their justification. They carry that as their contributions to the generation of this magnificent, civilized, modern Western civilization. And so that gives them a higher quality. That gives them a higher standing than what has black crime really contributed to.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Once again, we are live from ISUPK headquarters right here in Harlem, New York. This is Precinct Officer 50, Hoya Allah, the Mountain of the Most High. Right here, ISUPK headquarters of the Commander General Yohana for Monday night history class. Give that a hand. Clap it up. Give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me loud and clearly. It's going down. I am filling in for Precinct Officer Abadia, who will be joining us shortly. And of course, this is Monday night history class, and we will simply continue on from where we left off last week with the story of creation. The video I just now showed was a video we showed last week. Of course, I wanted to set it off with that video this week because that is a video of our very own Captain Tazaria. Give him a hand. Battling some disgusting Edomite, some devil who said the words that you just now heard on the video. If you did not hear him correctly, he said something to the effect of when Captain Tazaria alleged that him and his people are inherently evil, and the societies that they create on this earth are evil as well. He went on to say that because of the great society they built, or they were able to build, because of this modern technology and this great and beautiful society in which he so much loves, as he expressed over and over again, this society is able to justify the horror and the torture that they have unleashed on our people, as well as the world in its entirety, especially on the Most High's creation, man, this beautiful planet and all the beautiful things that the Most High gave us and was created during the creation period, in which we'll be covering today, man. And so we just want to give a quick recap of where we left off last week, which was an amazing class. Give that a hand. And so we were able to go in and cover Genesis 1, and read it as simple and plain as we could. And we can get that pulled up now just to give a quick recap on last week's class, of course. And so when we go into Genesis 1, Salakia. When we go into Genesis 1, we can just go through it step by step. We can start at verse 4. And the Most High saw the light, that it was good. And the Most High divided the light from the darkness. Verse 5, and the Most High called the light day and the darkness night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And verse 6, and the Most High said, let there be firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And we were able to explain exactly what the firmament was, man. And how the firmament is a barrier that protects the earth from things from the outside, not only from radiation from the sun, but even from physical objects. I mean, you can have a physical object the size of a skyscraper into the atmosphere, and it would never make it to the earth because of that firmament, because of that ozone layer that is there to protect the earth. It would burn it up in the atmosphere. Yahweh, has blessed this earth and the children of Israel with such protection. And then we can also see that our oppressor has destroyed that protection, and how currently there's a 7.7 million mile hole in that firmament. We were able also to go over inner space, and how in verse 8 the Most High called the firmament heaven. He called it heaven. You know, that protective layer that extends from our atmosphere into what they refer to as inner space, which is the space right around the planet. He called that heaven. And last week we were able to pull up how our oppressor has completely polluted this area of inner space with what's referred to as space junk, which is leftover parts from shuttles and space stations and debris and things that he's left in space over the years. I mean, goddamn, they only went up there in the 60s. Like from the 60s to now, they've destroyed what the Most High refers to in Genesis 1 and 8. He called the firmament heaven. What the Most High refers to as heaven, our oppressor has destroyed in 50 or so years. We were also able to go to verse 10. And the Most High called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And the Most High saw that it was good. The Most High saw that the earth was good. And we were able to show how our oppressor has systematically gone out to destroy the land. We were able to read in verse 11 and 12, the Most High said, let the earth bring forth grass, and herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. In verse 12, and the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was itself after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. The Most High saw that the vegetation created on this planet by Christ and the angels was good. You know? And so, like, before I move on, let me get that real quick, because in ISUPK, we do have to prove all things. And I don't want to just keep saying Christ and the angels, and then, you know, our brothers and sisters here hear something different from some disgusting Christian out there. Like, you leave it up to the Christian church, and they'll have you thinking, you know, the Most High and Christ are like, you know, goddamn Siamese twins or triplets or something. You know, and you'll never get the true understanding. That's why Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh Shah for the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana, so our people can come and get a proper understanding of this creation story and exactly what's going on here. So we can just quickly get that in the book of John, chapter 1. Let me get that pulled up. And this is the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with the Most High, and the Word was the Most High. Verse 2, the same was in the beginning with the Most High. Verse 3, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Who is the Word in verse 1 that we're talking about? We're talking about Christ. And in verse 3 that we can clearly see that without Christ, him, not anything made that was made. You know, the Most High created Christ. You know, and then Christ went along and created the angels and everything that we see here. And we can get that in the book of Colossians, chapter 1. Let me get that up here real quick. So like here we get that in Colossians 1 and 15. who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. Verse 16. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. You know, so again, we have to go in and prove exactly what's happening here. And what we're proving is what the Office of Abijah brought out last week, is that what we are looking at in creation is orders that the Most High is given to Christ, who is then giving these orders to the angels to create everything that we have and see here. And we know that this was a grand undertaking. We know that the effort put into this creation process is something that we could have never imagined. A project greater than any that has ever existed before or since. The creation of all things, man. And we actually have to get in there and appreciate this creation, man. Like you really have to sit back and think about it on so many different levels, how what was created during this time works, you know? I mean, even when you think about the elements and how they're interchangeable, how simply adding one molecule to something can change it into something completely different. Look at something simple as water, you know? The molecules that it takes to make water, and how if you take away one, you will no longer have water, you know? Iron, the same exact elements that we breathe in, oxygen, can be combined with other elements and create iron. How all of these things are interchangeable. How you have some elements that are unstable. And through the breaking down of these elements produce, you know, radioactive waste or radiation. And power that our oppressors been used to create bombs that could blow up the whole world, man. These are things that was created during Genesis, the first chapter, man. Something that we can sit back our entire lives and marvel at, but never truly understand. I mean, isn't that what our oppressors doing? Our oppressor's so busy trying to be the Most High that he can't even appreciate the goddamn creations of the Most High. He's too busy trying to figure it out. Like, he'll kill off all the goddamn lions and tigers and then go in the laboratory and create a goddamn liger. You know? And we're supposed to praise him for his goddamn creation. Man, we have to appreciate these things, and we have to take a moment, even in this hell that we live in. We always have to take these moments, man, and appreciate the wonderful and marvelous creations that the Most High has given us here on this earth, man. You know, and so that's what we're ultimately doing here. And we're going to get right back to Genesis, the first chapter, and set it off. So the last time we left off, man, we were taking a look, Salakia. We were taking a look at some of the animals that the Most High created with regard to the sea. So when we go to verse 21, and we'll read Genesis chapter 1, verse 21, and the Most High created great whales, you know, great whales. I love whales. You know, I love whales. You know, I've never particularly seen a whale or touched a whale. I've seen them in zoos, but just the idea that an animal can be this massive, you know, and they don't even eat big animals. Like, they eat little tiny, you know, they just eat millions of them. You know, these are great, massive animals, and I could imagine how big they were during this time. You know, these whales are amazing. You know, but it's very difficult to marvel at how miraculous whales are without reflecting and charging our oppressor to the damage and destruction that he's done to whale populations all over the goddamn planet. Like, they got a goddamn organization out here, well, Greenpeace or something, like they'll go out and fight the whalers and die because whalers are killing so many goddamn whales. And they kill them for all sorts of different reasons, but there's only one reason why they kill the whales off, and that's just simple. Our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. And we can see that in this article that I bring out, because our oppressor doesn't even have to be trying to kill a goddamn Wells. Our oppressor just simply conducting his normal life leads to the death of Wells. And that's what we're experiencing right here in New York City. Right here in New York City, a few miles right off the coast of Harlem, there is an epidemic of dead Wells. This is an article that just recently came out in the New York Post last month. Let's take a look at this. On Long Island, the 47-foot long male had extensive bruising to blubber and muscles on his head and was later buried on the beach in Hampton Bays, Southampton. So this was out on Long Island. We can take a look here at this map, man. And it's showing here that since December of 2022 to August 2023, this is a map of the amount of wells they were able to find. And you can read here at the bottom, it says 2023 has already set records for well depths in the waters of New York and New Jersey. Among the possible culprits, shipping bringing out online orders, and some campaigners fear preparation work from wind turbines. You know? So again, this is just our oppressor in his normal activities leading to a record-setting well death right here in our area in NYC. In Jersey. And so if you take a look at the screen, man, you can see, you know, this animal, man, one of the Most High's most loveliest creations, a well. You know, we're able to read here in the book of Genesis, you know, that the Most High, created wells in every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind. You know, this is the well. These is what the wells look like that the Most High created during creation. You know, due to the lifestyle and the overwhelming need to be a glutton and control every goddamn thing on the planet and harvest every goddamn resource on the planet. This is what the Most High creation is left looking like. You know, and as we pointed out next week, you know, our oppressor's attitude, like when you listen to the goddamn battle that Captain Tazariak had, you know, this oppressor is going to tell you that damn right his Amazon package is worth this beautiful 28-foot female humpback whale and her entire goddamn family washing up on the shores of Long Island. This is a horrible thing that we see here, man. This is a horrible thing that we see here, man. And when you go back and do the history, you'll see that these animals have been under attack from our oppressor since he first set his eyes on them. You know? So what a horrible thing that we're seeing there, man. And we can see that happening right here in our backyard in NYC, the death of these great animals. Man, moving on in the creation story, we see that also during this time, if I keep going on verse 21, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind, and the Most High saw that it was good. The Most High saw that these animals were good, man. The Most High saw that these animals were good. And it's important that, you know, we take a moment and actually understand, man, that this is not one of these things in which you take a look at these animals being destroyed and the Most High is you know, sees this and he doesn't frown upon this. You know, we see extensively throughout the scriptures that, you know, the Most High is serious about his creation. The Most High loves his creation. The Most High loves his animals. I mean, goddamn, we could take a look. We can take a look where I had before at Genesis 7, just to get an idea of it. I mean, here we are in the story of Noah, and the Most High is highly upset that there's so much interracial marriage and interracial mingling happening on the planet that he decides to take a plan of action. Let's get a little bit of this. So right now we're in the book of Genesis, chapter 7, verse 1. And the Most High said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house unto the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. And so here's the Most High coming to Noah saying, take your family and build an ark, because I see righteousness in your generations. Righteousness being purity in your generations. You haven't mixed with the other nations. You haven't intermingled. You haven't, your line is not polluted with interracial marriage and interracial mingling. And therefore, I want you to take yourself and your house and build an ark. Verse 2. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of the beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. I mean, goddamn, like if I was Noah at this time, you know, and I'm being given this message, and I'm to eventually find out that my whole entire world is over. Everything that I know up to this point is going to be gone. The whole world. Everybody except myself and my family. This is obviously serious. And yet, in this most serious time, in the destruction of all things, the Most High gives Noah the order to save the animals, to ensure that the line of his creation of animals go on along with his people. Let's read it again, verse 2. Of every clean beast thou shalt take by three, thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and the beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Verse 3. Of the fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. This is a creation that someone is pleased with. If you did not care about it, if you did not mind if it was destroyed, then you would not have gone through the trouble. I mean, goddamn, the animals was the whole mission. Like, if Noah didn't have to get the animals, that's just like a goddamn family cruise. All the work was getting the animals. That was the whole mission. Building the ark and getting the animals. The Most High God wanted his creations to go on. Could he not just make more animals? He wanted his creations to go on. Let's read it again, verse 3. Of the fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. To keep them alive. Verse 4, for yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy off the face of the earth. The Most High said he's destroying everybody and everything. except for what? Noah and his family, his people, that untainted line that would eventually become us, the 12 tribes of Israel, and his animals. That's enough right there to understand the importance of the Most High's creation to him, man. These things are important. And to see these wells slaughtered, to see all the animals around the planet in danger, is a horrible and sad thing to see, man. While I'm on the subject, let me get 2nd Esdras, chapter 5, verse 22. Because again, man, it's important that we have a clear understanding of the importance of the Most High's creation to him. It's not just that the creation and the animals and the plants and these things that were created that we're reading about in Genesis 1, not only are they important to the Most High, but he actually has favorites. The Most High God, creator of all, has his favorites. Let's read. This is Esdras, chapter 5, verse 20. We're going to start at verse 23. And say, O power that beareth rule of every one of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee one only vine. One only vine. What are we talking about? We're talking about the grapevine. You know? We go back and read in Genesis 1 how the Most High created all the herbs, which are then used for medicine and healing powers, on healing things on the earth. And then also the fruit yielding seeds, the food, the fruit, the wheat, all the things that we eat that come from vegetation. You know, all of these things were created by the Most High, and we read it right here in Genesis 1 and 12. Well, out of all those things that were created, out of all the wheat and corn, out of the maple syrup, out of all the beautiful different fruits and things that we get from all of this great vegetation the Most High gave us, he has a favorite. And his favorite is the grape, is the vine. That is his favorite. All vegetation is important, but he has a favorite. Someone who creates something and has a favorite is not someone who takes it lightly when someone comes along and deliberately destroys their creation. You know, the Most High has a favorite tree, a favorite vegetation, and that's the grape. You know, our people are the greatest winemakers on the planet. Christ drank wine. Grapes are our thing. You know, the Most High favors the vine. 24. And of all the land of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit of all the land. We can go back to Genesis 1 and we see exactly when the Most High created the land. Verse 10. And the Most High called the dry land earth. The dry land he called earth. And out of all the land on the earth, he chose Israel as his favorite. The Most High has favorites. You know? The Most High created all the beautiful vegetation on the planet. And if you go out, man, sometimes, like if you live here in New York City, you go up to the Bronx during this time of year, the spring and the summertime, and go to that damn botanical gardens, man, and you will see some of the most beautiful flowers, you know, some of the most amazing flowers, the type of flowers that'll make a hardcore cat from the Bronx take a moment and pick a goddamn flower and smell it and appreciate a beautiful creation of the Most High God. That is how beautiful those goddamn flowers are. The Most High has a favorite flower. Out of all his amazing flowers, he has a favorite. Verse 24. The rest of that. And of all the flowers thereof, one lily. The Most High loves the lily. That's his favorite, man. I like lilies. You know? Most High has a favorite. This is his creation. Verse 25. And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled the one river. Most High got a favorite river. That's the Euphrates. You know what I mean? Like, that's his favorite. What can you do? There's many different rivers and waterways and lakes and seas and oceans on the planet. The Most High has a favorite. Verse 25. And of all the depths of the seas thou hast filled one river, and of all the builded cities thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself. Zion, our city. Jerusalem, our holy city. That's the Most High's favorite city. That's the Most High's favorite city, you know? We all got our favorite cities. I mean, I know a lot of us like Vegas, LA, New York. A lot of people like New York. The Most High likes Jerusalem. The Most High's favorite city is the one he designated for us, our city. Verse 26, and of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove. The Most High has a favorite bird. We go back to Genesis 1, and we'll see that at the same time that the world was created, the Most High created the fowls of the air. These are by far some of the most greatest creatures on the planet. Creatures that have the ability and the vision to see things that our minds can't even imagine. I mean, goddamn, you'll have an eagle in the sky miles above and see things in the grass that we couldn't see standing right next to us. You know? No other animals on the planet can move faster than these birds. Especially when you see them on the dive. Amazing animals, man. Absolutely amazing animals. And the Most High has a favorite. His favorite is the dove. He has a favorite. You know? This is not someone who just doesn't mind when an oppressor comes and shoots 1,000,000 birds into extinction. The Most High has a favorite bird, and that's a dove, man. Moving on to 26, and of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep. Most High has a favorite animal, man. The sheep, man. That's his favorite. You know? These are all things that we see are the Most High's favorite. We can find their origins in creation, man. And we can also find these same things destroyed today as a result of our oppressor having rule over this planet, man. It's a horrible thing to see. Let's keep going, man. 27. And among all the multitudes of people, thou hast gotten thee one people. One people. This is why we have to care for the Most High creation. This is why we have to care for this earth. Because we are right in line with all the Most High's favorites. Let's read. Thou hast gotten thee one people, and unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all. Who are the group of people the Most High gave the law to? Who is that group of people? We could get that in the book of Psalms, chapter 147. Salaki, let me get that real quick. And let me tell you something, man, just a sidebar. Like that second Ezra 5, 23 down, is so heavy. It's so heavy, man. Because when you read this and you're reading a list of the Most High's favorites, and you see that it is you, black man, you Hispanic man, Native Indian man, that is counted amongst the Most High's favorites, that brings a certain amount of pride and a certain amount of responsibility that comes along in an oppressed man. Like goddamn, that Christian church. Like a lot of brothers in that Christian church leave and they are disheartening and they don't want to deal with the Bible no more. For that very reason of not understanding that they are God's favorite. That you, black man, homeless, on child support, drug addict, beat up black man, you are the Most High God's favorite. You sit in that goddamn Christian church and listen to some shucking and jiving hustler read to you out the Bible and make you believe that a goddamn white man is the Most High's favorite. And so if you got any inkling of manhood and masculinity about you, eventually you're going to get up and walk out of that goddamn whorehouse. Because that's not your God. That's why I left the Christian church. I can't sit there and read about the Most High's chosen people being the same man who won't even give me my full goddamn check. Because he said I didn't clock in on time and he saw me there. If he's God's chosen people, then who the hell am I? And why am I reading this goddamn Bible? Barakatah Yahweh Yahushua for the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana, man. It's only us that bring this out. It's only us that teach that broken black man, that broken Hispanic man. It is you that is God's favorite. Right along with that goddamn dove and that goddamn sheep. It's you, black man, that's the Most High's favorite. So many strong black men are lost and confused due to that goddamn Christian church, man, and they turn against the Bible. They turn against the Bible. Because you teach them that our king and our goddamn God resembles and is the God of the same man that has his goddamn foot on our necks. Damn that Christian church, man. Black man, you God's favorite, his chosen. We just read how Most High's favorite is the ones who was given his law. It's the ones who's given his statutes. It's the ones who was given his commandments, man. We're going to get that in Psalms 147, verse 19. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. and he sheweth his word unto Jacob. Who's Jacob? Jacob is the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob is the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. He sheweth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Say it again, unto Israel. Verse 20, he has not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. You know, we know who the Most High's favorite is. We just read exactly who the Most High's favorite is. And again, we see right here, to whom loveth, thou gavest a law that is approved of all. He only gave it to blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man. We are the Most High's chosen people. We are the Most High's favorite. And we can clearly see that here, man. Most High in Christ. So, man, keep it going with this story here, man. And when I say story, this story of creation, a lovely story, man, and an excellent opportunity. Like, even if you out here watching this class, or if you happen to watch this class later on, man, and you don't get nothing else out of it, at least the next time you outside, especially if you live here in the 5 boroughs, man, and you could happen to find yourself a tree, take a moment and marvel at the beauty in which the Most High has given us, man. Because, you know, you leave it up to our oppressor, and one day you come outside and you won't be able to find one, you know? So we're going to keep it moving here. Verse 24. And the Most High said, let the earth break forth living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. Verse 25. And the Most High made the beast of the earth after his kind, the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. The Most High saw that all these things were good, man. The creation of all these animals were good, you know? So we see the creation of all the animals, and then we also see after that, the Most High, you know, creates mankind, you know, and then he rests. And then after that, there's no more creation. And, you know, we could get into how the Christian church teaches that Adam is, you know, Adam was the only person on the planet. There was nobody before him, man. We could get into all of that. But another thing that is important for us to take a look at, and let me get that pulled up real quick. Salakia. Slack it. So we will go to Genesis 2:19. So we got Genesis chapter 2, verse 19. And out of the ground the Most High formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every creature, that was the name thereof. Verse 20. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found any helpmeet for him. You know, and so now we, you know, we're going into where the Most High, you know, gives Adam Eve. But we see here that the Most High gave Adam a task here, you know, a task here, and it's not a simple task. Like, the Most High is tasking Adam with naming the animals. You know? The Most High's tasking Adam with naming the animals, man. And I cannot imagine that being an easy job. Like, I mean, you could go out in the middle of Central Park and stand there, and I ask you to categorize and name, you know, every living creature in there. You might be in there for 20 years. You know, I mean, the different variety of everything that's in there. I mean, it's a serious task, you know, to be able to categorize and name these animals. But you know, this was Adam's task, and he did so, you know. And he did so in the language of the Most High. You know, the Lashawan Kodash, you know, the holy tongue. And he named all of these animals, man. And when we go out throughout our history, Israel as a nation, man, you know, our culture, our records, our history is very intertangled with animals, you know. You know, some brothers are named after different animals. The Officer Hazahab, give him a hand. The wolf, goddamn wolf, you know. Officer Hazahab, you know, his name is in the, you know, the holy tongue, Lashawan Kodash, and it means the wolf, you know. And there's a lot of different animals, you know, that our cultures associate with. You know, you read verses like, you know, be, you know, wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. It's in our language. It's in our culture to be intertwined with the creation that the Most High gave us, man. It's just simply a part of Israelite culture. And we can see here that this started in the beginning with the Most High tasking Adam to name the animals. Now, Adam was tasked to name the animals, and our disgusting oppressor, you know, who just in every way needs to try to be the Most High and get all the praise. In the 1700s, our oppressor set out to go throughout the whole entire planet, catalog, categorize, and rename every goddamn animal. You know, that's what our oppressor did. Our oppressor, you know, in this disgusting empire, try to go back and redo Adam's job. You know, literally take into account and categorize and rename every goddamn animal on the planet. Now let me ask you, when he did he do it in Lashawan Kodash? Did he do it in the Holy Tongue? No, he did not. You know, so what he did was he went and renamed all the animals on the planet in his ancient tongue, which is Latin. And so that's why it doesn't matter where you go on the planet. You can call a cat anything you want to call it. Our oppressor is going to tell you that the proper name is some long, weird Latin name that no black man could possibly ever pronounce. Felanius Plapacinicus is a goddamn cat. You know? Like, we can't find one goddamn thing in the creation story that our oppressor doesn't go and corrupt. The Most High task his people with naming and categorizing and understanding all the animals on the planet. Our oppressor came back and just renamed them all. You know? I mean, goddamn. Like, we look up here on the screen, and you leave it up to our oppressor, goddamn Officer Hazahab's name would be Canius Cayanidi from Mammalia. Like, they'll rename every goddamn thing give it some long, weird Latin name, you know? But it's important we understand why. You know, it's important that we understand why. And so, you know, this act of naming animals, it's not just an act of naming animals. Like if you went out and got a dog right now, and you go get the dog from the kennel, from the ASPCA downtown, they tell you the goddamn dog name is Spot. And you gonna bring the dog back up to Harlem and name him some vicious killer name, you know, Demon or goddamn Killer Jaws or something like that. When you name the dog, you are taking possession, dominion. To name something is to take possession of it. You know? I mean, goddamn, we could give you proof right here in Deuteronomy 28. You know? The reason why you know you're a slave in America is because your goddamn last name is Smithstein. Somebody has taken possession of you. This idea of reclassifying and renaming all the animals in the world in Latin was our oppressor's way of telling the world, I'm taking possession of all the goddamn animals. They're all mine. Don't worry about what's happening with the goddamn whales. Hoyala, they're mine. That's what's happening, you know? The white man's taking possession of all the goddamn things the Most High's created in the creation story. Because he wants to be the Most High. That's why as blacks and Hispanics, we can never, ever, ever in a million years believe that our oppressor has an inkling of remorse or any type of empathy for our plight in this country. Our oppressor prefers animals over us. It's a proven goddamn fact. I mean, goddamn, just go back and look at the Michael Vick story. Our oppressor will enjoy the company of a goddamn tank of piranha before he tolerates the happiness of a black or Hispanic. Listen, man, I grew up right here in New York City. I grew up right here in New York City. And I grew up in New York City at a time where the cost of living wasn't as high as it is now, not nearly. And although the city wasn't as glamorous as it looks now, it was a time where you could still actually find a black man who could afford to live in New York City. Believe it or not, at one time, that was actually possible. Like there was a time when my father had a house in the Bronx. My uncle had one in Queens. My other uncle had one in Queens. My grandmother owned a house in the Bronx for 50 years. They named the goddamn street after her. There was a time when black people actually had a place to live. And during those years, this city was run down. The Bronx was run down. And during that time, there was nothing but stray dogs on the street. When I was growing up, you couldn't walk 2 blocks without running into 10 stray dogs. And there was good dogs. You know what I mean? That was during the time when they called it the burnt down Bronx. It was lots everywhere, abandoned buildings everywhere, and it was dogs, man. And we would feed them. The city was filled with stray dogs. We turn around to 2023. The cost of living has gone up. The city's all nice and bright. There's no stray dogs on the streets no more. All the stray dogs of the 70s and the 80s have been replaced by homeless black men. There's no more stray dogs, but the streets are littered with homeless black men in their 20s and 30s and in their teens. Homeless black men that can't afford to live in the city. And at the same goddamn time, you'll see that the places these homeless black men used to live back in those days are now occupied by white families. And they all got dogs. I mean, goddamn, if you take a step back and just look at the whole situation, it's like they came into the city, rescued all the goddamn dogs, kicked us on the street, and then moved into our houses with the goddamn dogs. That oppressor will feed and take care of that disgusting little dog and watch you starve to death in that goddamn street. Don't ever mix up our oppressor's disdain for wildlife and think that there might be anything on this earth that he can't stand more than you, more than me, more than blacks, Hispanics, or Native American Indians. Our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. You know, and as we continue on or go back and reflect on the story of creation, man, we get to see more and more the heinous activity that has been committed on this planet by the hands of our oppressor, man. You know? Which leads us to another interesting part of history that can never, ever be disputed, and that is the massacre and extinction of the American bison, or what's referred to as the American buffalo, man. And we could quickly go over that in 1 second, man, because it is such a horrible, horrible story when you think about it. And the victims of this story is our brothers. Our brothers, the North American Indians, our brothers whose entire world was destroyed by one of the most heinous acts ever committed on the planet. So let's just get a little bit of background on this, man. The American bison, or what they refer to as the buffalo, is a wild ox, you know? And here in America, at one time, their population was about 70 to 80 million strong. 70 to 80 million strong, man. You know, this is a huge amount of animals. You know, and these animals at one time spread easily across 3 continents. The entire North American, three countries, the entire North American continent, from Alaska all the way down to Mexico, was completely filled with bison, you know? Now, our brothers, you know, the North American Indians, man, you know, they found themselves in this land. And if you want to get into the history of that, by all means, please pick up a copy of Captain Katazai's book, We Came from the East, which is him I had. An amazing book, man, that breaks down the history of our brothers and sisters when they came on this side of the world, of things that happened to them. It just gives you proof, absolute proof, you know, that the lost tribes, the children of Israel, were later brought or traveled to this side of the world and groups of them, particularly the ones that lived on what's referred to as the Northern Plains, found themselves in a position in which they lived in a codependent environment with this animal, this buffalo, man, this beautiful, amazing animal, man. This is an animal that stands 6 feet, about 2,000 pounds, you know? And what this animal was able to do was literally take over the entire continent, man, and be the focal point of an ecosystem that provided life for not only the land, but for everything. Everything around lived based off this herd, this humongous super herd of bison. And if you were an Israelite from the tribe of Reuben, living in the Great Plains during these hundreds of years period, man, your life was completely intertwined with this animal. Every single time you opened your eyes and woke up, the sounds, the smells, the everything around you, everything that you have, everything that you wear, all of it was provided by this animal, by this humongous super herd of animals that you could never miss. There were millions upon millions of them around all the time, always eating grass and grazing, always defecating and creating manure to create some of the most fertile land the world has ever seen, providing food for predators, and just literally being the focal point of the entire ecosystem over a humongous area so large that they were able to support, you know, tribes upon tribes of our brothers and sisters from the tribe of Reuben, Salakia. Got Precinct Officer Baya in the building. Give him a hand. So it's important that we understand, and it's important that we have a clear understanding, and we are able to appreciate this codependent relationship of man and animal. You know, and there's no better place to see this than the relationship between our brothers from the tribe of Reuben and this bison. You know, there's not a single thing that they had that did not come from this animal. This animal made them strong. This animal provided for them the security and resources that they needed to fight off of our oppressor for hundreds of years. They became very good at it. Hey, you win some, you lose some, but they was in the goddamn fight. You know? They did not have gunpowder, you know, until they got it from our oppressor, and they didn't have the technology, but they had what the Most High had given them. And that is this creation, this amazing, humongous monster of an animal in such huge numbers that this animal was able to provide the food, the resources, the clothing, and the materials needed to fight off a goddamn superpower. They had everything they needed from the ground up. Let's get the book of Deuteronomy. Salakia, so go ahead.
I said, where are we?
We're going to quickly, we just left Genesis 1. We're going to quickly get Salakia, Deuteronomy 28 and 31.
this brother.
So it's so important, man, that it's important, man, that we get an understanding of what's happening here, because this is right after slavery. This is right after the Civil War. Like, goddamn, our oppressor. Like, you just got out of war. You just left war. The tribe of Judah is now so-called, quote-unquote, free in the United States. Our oppressor got one night of sleep, woke up, and then went straight to war with the tribe of Reuben. And the method that they use to dispatch our brothers is by far one of the greatest and most heinous acts against animals and people the world has ever seen, man. Slakia, so you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say shout out to you for holding it down.
Oh, Most High Christ.
You're definitely going out and doing this work, bringing out this information. Salaka, he's up in my ass. But yeah, that's pretty much it right now.
Most High in Christ. Now, a lot of times we
Deuteronomy 28 verse
31. I'll give you that in a second. A lot of times we
crazy.
A lot of times we find ourselves in situations dealing with our oppressor, man,
Right.
and we have this predisposition to separate our oppressor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many times you'll hear a Jake say, "Well, you know what I mean, the ones at my job ain't that bad." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I understand that the government is evil, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Johnny down the block that married my sister, he's cool. You know what I'm saying?
If I met Marlon Brando.
Come. Right, Marlon Brando. He was so goddamn cool.
And like, here's my thing about it. I don't like what is cool. Like honestly, like, cause
Right.
I can't unfathom like I'm gonna belittle you, right?
Right.
And then your children are gonna have to live a life based on that belittlement. But I have 10 kids. 7 of my kids are just gonna be assholes to yours, Salakia,
Right.
and just be evil to yours. But 3 of mine are going to live off the evil, but say, yo, what happened to you is wrong. Would you like to come over to my house and play video games?
Right.
Like, you can come over my house. And this is what Marlon Brando did. You can come over my house, right? And at dinner time, I'll let you say a whole speech about how what we did to your family is evil.
Right.
And then when my brother tries to beat you up, John Wayne, I'll just hold him back. Like, that's
right.
like, really? And
Word.
because of this, Marlon Brando gets to wear a tambourine
Right.
with the Black Panthers.
Right. Right. And yo, they so brazen with it. Like, remember during the last election, Biden was like, "Listen, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black." Like they making policy in the black community now.
What's it called? The Hamite comments when they first did Juneteenth.
Right.
And they got like these, like, yo, man. I'm like, yo, yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, man. So one thing that we don't want to do for sure is that we don't want to misconstrue exactly what's happening here with this buffalo slaughter. This is not a group of, white oppressors who banded together and do this. This is policy.
Right.
This is the policy of the U.S. government. This is their plan of attack.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not some ragtag band of militia.
Right.
You know what I'm
The
saying?
United States government said we want
Right.
this territory. There are problems. This is how we deal with this problem.
Right.
And if I may, I'm gonna probably go into it myself. I'll probably go into the Seminole Wars, or what's known as the Gullah Wars.
Okay.
Basically that was Judah Issachar, Gad, and Reuben. They don't like to talk about this. Before the Civil War, basically 100 years before the end of the Civil War, Esau was already at war with Judah, Gad, Issachar, and Reuben, which had banded together mainly because of Judah. Basically, Issachar, at that point, Texas was still Mexican.
Right.
The reason they took Texas, they don't like to talk about it, is because the Mexicans refused to return runaways. Judites would run into Mexico, which is Texas, and give us our slaves back. No. And they banded with the Seminoles, which had already said, we're not taking slaves. You bring in any of those people we see, we're treating them as citizens of our nation if they want to help us fight you, Most High in Christ. Everybody band together, and basically the leaders were Reuben, the Seminoles, and that's why it's called the Seminole Wars. Like, basically, here's the thing, and it leads into what you're saying, Salakia. Here's why it ended, and here's why Esau eventually won. Esau won the Civil War. With that, Judah was allowed to check on their family. Judah left the war effort. Because they pushed everybody into what today is Mexico. But right about that time, that's when they want their own civil war. So niggas can do whatever they want now. So maybe I can go check on what happened to my grandma, and my mom, and my wife, and my brother and sister. So Judah, it's understandable, but it's not the spirit of Christ that was needed at that time. Con, you got what you need, or you need a bit more time?
Oh, no, I'm too up.
Okay, so I was ad-libbing so you can find what you. I thought you needed. Yeah, Con. I got the scripture when you read it.
Yeah, so this was the policy of the U.S. government, and the U.S. government specifically set out, and they had discussions in Congress, and that's what I'm actually trying to pull up right now.
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to pull up the congressional minutes. But I mean, if I can't find, I'm gonna keep it going. But again, this was discussed in Congress on open floor, and you have the speeches by different congressmen and how they felt about it, and the spirit of the country at this time was do whatever needs to be done. This term is coined as manifest destiny.
Oh yeah.
You know, and like the gall of manifest destiny. You know,
the idea of that word is we are going to create our own, which is Esau.
Right.
That is Esau. What do I mean? Though he built up, I will tear down. I will build it right back up again.
Right.
I will manifest destiny.
Right. Right.
This structure. Okay. Here's that scripture in a nutshell, and it's so beautiful. The Twin Towers. What's the solution? Freedom Tower, an even bigger structure.
Right.
Don't ask me to go in that building. I've had to in the past. I'm not just going to hold you. But yeah, I go in the basement, which is still Love You With Me. I used to have to do delivery work. But yeah, that shows you the gall of Esau. Right, the gall. Like, how do I say? Honestly, I think if it was reversed and that was Israel in that situation, Israel would have really rethought the idea of, do we really need skyscrapers in this mother? Like we really built the death trap and killed thousands of our own people just so we could see clouds? Right. Like, at the end of the day, I'd rather live underground for all that. Shoot.
Word. Now listen, man, really quickly, because we got about a half hour left.
Yeah.
If you were an Israelite from the tribe of Reuben, living in the Great Plains or anywhere near it, or if you were anywhere in the United States during this time, you were living in hell. This was hell for you. Okay? Not only was your greatest resource being absolutely destroyed. Salakia, give me that from the top. Deuteronomy 28:31.
Deuteronomy 28:31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
Say it again.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes. And thou shalt.
The Native American Indians that lived on the Great Plain of this time were of the tribe of Reuben, of the 12 tribes of Israel. Salakia, not were, are, to this day, God's chosen people. Here's proof. Say it again.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
That great animal, that wild ox, that 2,000-pound, 6-foot animal, that humongous, brolic bull, the millions of them that roamed the plains and provided every single thing our brothers and sisters from the tribe of Reuben needed to survive on this land. Say it again.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
Our oppressor killed them in front of their faces.
Right.
Right in front of their faces. You woke up every day of your life and went outside and heard the herd, smelled the herd, saw the herd, interacted with the herd, loved the herd. Our oppressor came and slayed their ox right in front of their faces. If you were an Israelite from the tribe of Reuben living on the Great Plains during this time, you were in hell. Keep going.
And thou shalt not eat thereof.
Say it again.
And thou shalt not eat thereof.
70 million animals at 2,000 pounds per animal. Some estimates say that 1 million, 500,000 every 6 months. Buffalo Bill said he killed 500,000 by his goddamn self. There's no refrigeration. There's not even ice. Ice does not exist as human beings created ice for personal domestic use. Right. That does not exist at this time.
Right.
That does not exist. There's no refrigeration. There's no ice. Right. There's 1,002,000 pound dead animals in your goddamn backyard. Right. Rotting in front of your face. Right. You were in hell if you were an Israelite from the tribe of Reuben during this time. Listen, man. To even think about living in an environment with thousands of rotting, dead animals are around you every single day. You try to eat as much as you can, but you can only eat so much. The entire ecosystem has been destroyed. The number of herbivores has dropped. The number of carnivores has risen. Now you got a goddamn wolf coming in your teepee. You know? Don't you realize that the same exact land that was so fertile back in these days because of a constant herd of buffalo is a goddamn desert now? Sir, go ahead.
If I may, and then you have to account for the fact that Esau was bringing abnormalities into the environment that were not here. A lot of people do not know or forget. Swine is not native to the Americas.
Right.
Like, and that's an omnivore. One thing my grandfather was good for saying, a snake will eat a hog will eat a snake.
Right.
When they say, when we tell you snakes will eat anything, I know that from personal experience because, like I said, my grandfather used to say it all the time. A hog will eat a snake. That completely destroys the ecosystem. of being like, you introduce anything foreign to an ecosystem it's not naturally for. And then you have things like, I remember watching a documentary about Lewis and Clark. Reuben and Gad respected nature. And what do I mean? Oh, that's the grizzly's home. I'm not going near the grizzly. And then you have Reuben and Gad saying, don't go near the grizzly bear. It's a very strong bear. Care about no grizzly bear. Then they're seeing the grizzly bear still chasing them after having had its brain blown out. Oh, this is a very strong bear. And now you're messing up ecosystems. And this is how it will ends up in a brother's tent.
Right.
Because the grizzly bear, who's now afraid of the white grizzly bear, had to move into the wolf's house. Now the wolf has to move into your house.
Right. Damn shame, man. Damn shame.
If I made a quote down Nazariak, the white man is a virus.
Damn right.
So I hope we don't get back to saying that. Shalakia. Be like, Shalakia, what you said. I quoted you, sir.
Damn, man. Listen, man. We can clearly see, just based on the information that's brought out, our oppressor is, just as horrible as he can be. On the people as well as the animals, and that's a lot of what we're bringing out, man. Is these heinous acts committed on these animals, especially these bison, But let's just read that from the top one more time, man.
This is Deuteronomy 28:31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
Thine ox shall be slain before I, man. That's what happened to the tribe of Reuben. The tribe of Reuben had to sit right up there on the Great Plains, hundreds of thousands of them, and watch their ox be slain before their eyes, man. And this was a direct act of war.
Right.
And this direct act of war led to their demise, of those flourishing communities. It also led up to them, ultimately being put on reservations, man.
Right.
So, it is a horrible thing. Exactly. Now, if we get Isaiah 14 real quick, you drop that and grab Isaiah 14 real quick. Because, maybe some of our viewers may be wondering, where the buffalo now? Like it was between 70 and 100 million at one point. Those numbers kind of dwindled down to about 30 to 50 million. And where are the buffaloes now? Well, I mean, some of you may be happy to know that, there's about 4,500 buffalo left. There's about 4,500 of them left.
You can buy the meat.
Right? Oh yeah, you can buy the meat, of course.
Yeah.
Buffalo's lawful, right?
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, buffalo's lawful,
If I may.
Go on, sir.
To piggyback off the buffalo, what you said and what you're saying now, understand what I said. Pig is not natural. But the Most High gave our people a lawful, natural animal, right? That naturally lives here, that can sustain all of our needs. And not only that, it is a literal natural weatherman. Remember, they followed it to know, Texas is no longer inhabitable. Louisiana is no longer inhabitable.
Right.
The swamp's about to swamp. The hurricane's about to hurricane.
Right.
The buffalo, I don't know. I'm going to know in 3 months when idiots don't listen to the buffalo.
Right.
And just like before I give it right back to you.
No, please.
Just so you know, like, Esau is fully aware of this and is swindling our people that are actually just buying land in Texas and Louisiana. Gad and Reuben told him, you can't live here. The hurricane, tornado, no. Yeah, I'm going to set up shop here. Once again, manifest destiny.
Right.
I'm going to rebuild New Orleans. I'm gonna make a city surrounded by sand and hope that works out well. It didn't work out well. What are you gonna do? Rebuild. Shalom. If I may, it's this mentality that Sodom and Gomorrah is a nuclear wasteland today.
Right.
Because they probably wouldn't have been that stupid.
Right. Right. Damn right, man. Give him a hand, man. So yeah, man. So really quickly, we went over the destruction of this great and powerful animal by the hands of our oppressor, who as an act of war just went out and killed millions and millions of buffalo over a very short period of time and devastated the communities of our brothers and sisters from the tribe of Reuben, man. And so, boom, where are all the buffalo now? Where are they? Like I mentioned before, you'll be happy to know that there's about 4,500 buffalo left out of the 70 million that were previously here. We still got about 45 left, right? Where are they? Let's take a look up at the screen. The overwhelming majority of the buffalo here in the United States is in a place called Yellowstone National Park. That's where all the buffalo are. The buffalo are in Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone National Park, you know, and this is for all my homeless brothers and sisters out there who can't find a goddamn room right here in New York City. Yellowstone National Park is a humongous plot of land that nobody can live in. All of my brothers and sisters from the tribe of Reuben are out on goddamn reservations. The black man is sitting on the goddamn street while our oppressor's living in our house with the dog. We already won over that. And here it is. Our oppressor has a goddamn state's worth of land that nobody can live in. But he does have the buffalo there. You know? He does have all the buffalo there. And so, yeah, man, while the Native American Indians are living under some of the most horrible conditions on these reservations, smoking every goddamn cigarette the white man can pump into the reservation, drinking every goddamn drop of liquor that could be delivered to the reservation, and being scammed out of every goddamn dollar they can. Let me tell you something. I work in finance. You ever heard of a tribal loan? My goodness. It's the worst goddamn loan you can get. Like, our oppressor has used reservation laws to trick people out of money. Like, you take out a goddamn tribal loan for $500, you pay $200 on it, you get your statement, you owe $800 goddamn dollars. They trick them out of every goddamn dime they got with those casinos.
What's it called? The Italians on the mafia.
Right. The Edomites on those. And yet our oppressor has an entire goddamn country's worth of land just so him and his family could go out and see goddamn Old Faithful and look at the buffalo that his ancestors killed. He wouldn't need to go to Yellowstone had his ancestors not killed all the goddamn buffalo.
If I may,
Salakia, go ahead, sir.
the white man is the devil, and like when you really just sit here and you have season and you really think about it, it's just the devil is such a cunning individual. Because you saying that, it's like you're right, but at the end of the day, here's why you're wrong. Meaning, like, you shouldn't have to go out to do that unless he what's called? He wouldn't have to go out to Yellowstone to see the buffalo if his ancestors didn't kill the buffalo, right?
Right.
But here's the problem with that. Would his mom and dad be forced to pay to see the buffalo if they didn't do that? The white man is the devil. Meaning this, he does what's lucratively beneficial for him.
Right.
Not only will I kill my enemies, But in a few years, I'll be able to pay people to no, think about it like the tiger. I'm having fun killing tigers, and then when there's only a few of them, I'll collect what like 10 that's left and say, pay me $10 million just to see it.
Right. Right. That's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. You know?
Like,
but yeah, man, like that, and we see that all the time. Like that is a culture of our oppressor. Right. You know, like since the very moment, just like we went over before, how our oppressor went out and categorized every animal on the planet and gave them all Latin names. Right. You know, gave them all Latin names, and it's taking dominion, you know, in that aspect. Because that's what happens when you name an animal. When you name an animal, you're taking responsibility and dominion over that animal. You're saying it's yours. Right. You know? So we've seen that happen already. And so now we're taking a look at Yellowstone National Park, which I'm gonna pull up on the screen. And Yellowstone was the world's first national park, you know, and nobody can live there. The only people that can live there, some of the people are the ones that work there. But you can't go move into Yellowstone National Park. Let's read why. Give me Isaiah 14 and 17.
Isaiah 14 and 17. That made the world as a wilderness.
Say it again.
That made the world as a wilderness.
Say it again.
That made the world as a wilderness.
We are talking about our oppressor. If you were Israelite, the tribe of Reuben, living throughout any of these generations, you would know who's the person who did what?
That made the world as a wilderness.
Who made your whole goddamn world a wilderness. You went from having a thriving community into our oppressor making your whole goddamn world a wilderness.
Right.
Yellowstone National Park is a goddamn wilderness.
Right.
That's what Yellowstone National Park is. It's a goddamn wilderness. Read it again from the top.
That made the world as a wilderness.
Keep going.
And destroyed the city.
And did what?
Destroyed the city.
Our brothers and sisters from the tribe of Reuben had a thriving community of trade and culture. Our oppressor made their whole goddamn world a wilderness. Our oppressor slayed their ox and then placed it in the goddamn wilderness. Like, goddamn, if you're a Native American Indian, you go to Yellowstone National Park and cry. Read it again from the top. Our oppressor does what?
That made the world as a wilderness.
Listen, I don't gotta go to goddamn Yellowstone National Park to know that. I live in New York City. I'll travel a few blocks west and see a goddamn wilderness right in the middle of the city. Seneca Village was a thriving black community right here in New York City.
Right.
Let me get a goddamn map of Central Park real quick.
Right.
Go ahead, sir.
What's it called? Like, it's so crazy, like, you bringing this out because this is talking about literally him, the destruction he did on the earth, and what I was just saying earlier. It's all like, yes, he's a destructive bastard, he's a virus, but it's all for a frugal, lucrative gain. Like, at the end of the day, he didn't decimate the Chinese, he didn't decimate all these other nations on the earth just to be evil, just to be destructive. He did it with the sense of, now that I've all broken everybody's leg and I'm the only person with two good legs, no one will ever beat me in a foot race.
Right.
And then basically when I break your arm, you now have to pay me to do anything for you that requires 2 arms.
Right. Right. Damn right, man. That's exactly the mentality of our oppressor, who is, of course, the devil the Bible speaks of. But again, man, we live right here in New York City. And we're able to experience this.
Right.
Seneca Village was a thriving community on the west side of Central Park. Through the process of eminent domain, our oppressor moved all of our people out of this area, destroyed that area, and did what? Read it again from the top.
That made the world as a wilderness.
Look at the screen. Right here in the middle of my city is a goddamn wilderness. Is a goddamn wilderness. In the center of some of the largest skyscrapers in the world is a goddamn wilderness. A thriving black community used to be here called Seneca Village. Look it up. Captain Contazine taught me all about it. I mean, goddamn, I lived in New York City my whole life.
Right. Right.
I learned about this from Captain Contazine.
Right.
There's a goddamn wilderness right in the middle of New York City. Read it again.
That made the world as a wilderness.
Our oppressor makes the world a wilderness. If you was a Judite who was being goddamn extradited to Harlem from Seneca Village because the government done took over your goddamn house and your property and your land, and they're gonna build a big ass park there so that our oppressor can walk his goddamn dog. You were in hell during that time. Go ahead, sir.
And falsely accused 5 brothers of doing something to it.
Right. Right. And falsely accused those 5 brothers in that Central Park garbage. I can't stand Central Park. I never go to Central Park. I hate Central Park. Like, you're a black man in New York City, you know Central Park's not your park.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you better go over. Goddamn, you know what I'm saying? Central Park's not your park.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a goddamn wilderness. Keep going.
And destroyed the cities thereof.
And destroyed the cities thereof. Seneca Village was a small city within a city. Harlem, where we at right now, is a city within a city. Go ahead, sir.
I got another one, the Devil's Punch Bowl.
The Devil's Punch Bowl. Go ahead, sir. Bring it out.
Oh, you're not familiar with this one?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
I've heard of Devil's Punch Bowl, the lake.
Union soldiers, meaning the North, gathered freed blacks inside of basically like a pit, like in a burrow. Long of the story short, enclosed them, basically starved them to death. Now, today, beautiful peaches grow in that area. No one will ever eat those peaches because they know what fertilizer is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah.
I heard
They
about
call
that.
it the Devil's Punch Bowl.
Right. And it's a lake. And yeah,
And there's several lakes in the South.
Several. Yes,
Several lakes, several ponds and towns. Oh, ex-towns. Several lakes, several ponds that are just literal ex-towns.
Literal
White man
ex-towns.
said, yeah, we don't want you living here. We want a lake.
Right. We want a lake.
Well, once again, it's not about destroying you. I'm about to set up my grill. I'm about to have like little games outside the lake. I'm about to kill you. Then I'm about to make money off this area that your dead body's gonna be.
Damn right, man.
Our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks.
Damn right. Give that a hand. Like, I almost feel like we haven't said it enough this class. Our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. Like, I might have to make a 10 class minimum quota. We got to say it at least 10 times.
Oh yeah, I used to do that myself.
Because just thinking about the madness of what we're talking about is enough to make you want to say it 100 times. You know? We're looking at a goddamn park that extends from 59th Street to 110th Street. A community that used to belong to our people. You go to goddamn goddamn Central Park right now. Walk the perimeter of Central Park and count how many goddamn blacks and Hispanics is laying up against that goddamn wall sleeping because they homeless.
That won't be a fun number.
So our oppressor can jog his jippity ass from the east to the west side just as happy as he can be with that goddamn expensive water bottle and them comfortable sneakers. Like, it's madness. It's madness. We have to bring out a lot of this information just for the mental sanity of our people. Like, you have to be God's chosen people. How else would you be able to live amongst this madness without jumping off of a goddamn building every day? Like, you'll sit there homeless and look at you're sleeping in the park looking at the building you grew up in with a goddamn Edomite in the apartment. Go ahead, sir.
If I may, here's what let you know you're an Israelite, like you personally. The thought to you is jump out of the building. You know, every other nation would say in that situation. And here's what let you know we're sheep. We're the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Every other nation would shoot you.
Right.
Would shoot that white man.
Right.
I'm sleeping on the street and he's living good. Why? Because he belittled. Yeah, sure. It's common. What's it called? We wake up. Black people are some of the most, how do I say it, just oblivious people. Because every year we wake up to this people are rebelling against this regime. And this people are, why? I don't understand. They get their behinds whipped for the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and they're tired of it. How long have we been getting our behinds whipped? How long have we been sleeping on the streets?
Right.
Like, how long, like, that's what, like, how do I say it? We are literally the peculiar people that the scriptures talk about. No other race would act like this.
Right.
Every other race would have killed the white man in their sleep centuries ago.
I mean, listen, it's not that we're peculiar, it's that we're destroyed. I mean, don't get it twisted. If we had a lick of power, I'm sure that would be the case. It's not that we're peculiar. I mean, when you look at the story of Simeon and Levi, when they went in there and slaughtered them Africans, like, yeah, that was an act of wrath, but that's the spirit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we don't got it in us. Right. We have been beaten into submission. You know what I'm saying? And you do got a point there as well. You know what I'm saying? When we look at Ishmael and a lot of things that they do, man. But I mean, again, I'm pretty certain that most brothers want to take that action. Brothers have taken that action. Brothers have taken that action. In fact, I'm gonna do a class when I get an opportunity to, man, on the FBI's destruction of the Panthers, man, and just that, you know, that whole entire era. Because what we're looking at is the systematic destruction of brothers and sisters who really took arms to come up against oppression, man. Which just simply leads us back that, yes, we are the chosen people of God. But when we look at some of those stories and the horrific things that happened to brothers and sisters during that period, like the absolute slaughter, the government-sanctioned slaughter that happened to these brothers and sisters, it's a horrible thing, man. But not to get too much off a subject, let's just get that verse from the top real quick, and then we'll close out.
Isaiah 14:17. That made the world as a wilderness.
Who made the world as a wilderness? Our oppressor, Esau. He makes your world a wilderness. Yeah. He makes your world a wilderness. He made my world a wilderness. I'll tell you that much. Right. My world was a wilderness for quite some time.
They say we're born with PTSD in the hood. That's a fact.
Word. A wilderness. I grew up in the goddamn projects in the Bronx. I remember one summer I came outside, ain't nobody outside.
Yeah.
They locked up the whole goddamn projects.
Oh, yeah.
It's a goddamn wilderness out here, man. Listen, man, we are going to end the creation series. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. It has been a marvelous journey through the story of creation, seeing how the Most High has, created and gave us so many beautiful things to marvel at, to look at, the medicines, the foods, the fruit. I mean, goddamn, it ain't nothing our oppressor could put in a bag that's better than a goddamn piece of fruit. I'm about to go get me some mango right now. It's the best time of the year for it. I love them cold. You know what I mean? Some goddamn mangoes and some pineapples. There is nothing that our oppressor has ever came up with better than the Most High's fruits and vegetables. So, what I'm saying? We have to always give thanks, man, and be appreciative of this beautiful creation the Most High has given us. And at the same time, we have to actively charge our oppressor for the destruction of God's creations and the destruction of God's chosen people. We have to do it. Like, one thing I cannot stand is when some goddamn oppressor tries to use progression as a means for us to get over our trauma here in this country. Y'all just gotta move on. It's a new age, man. You guys gotta pick yourselves up and forget about all that stuff. No, goddamn it, I'm gonna remember it every single goddamn night of Monday night and right here at ISUPK headquarters. We are going to remember it. We're gonna remember it. Every lynching, every goddamn name, every unarmed black man, every crack of the goddamn whip for 400 years, we're going to bring it up. We don't forget. Give me Deuteronomy 32:7. This is what we're here to do, to not forget. We will never forget.
Verse 7. Ready?
Concert.
Remember the days of old.
Say it again.
Remember the days of old.
Say it again.
Remember the days of old.
We are not going to forget, oppressor. We will never forget. We want to actively remember and sit around and talk about our oppression and your evil and the fact that you're the devil spoken about in the Bible. Here in the ISUPK, that is our business. We never forget. Say it again.
Remember the days of old.
We are going to remember the days of old. From creation to now. We're never going to forget.
Right. That's if I may.
Go ahead, sir.
That is against the scriptures to say, oh, let's forget about the past. Let's moving forward.
Right.
That is such a foolish way to do anything.
Right.
To simply move forward and not deal with the constraints of the past is simple.
Right. Right. We will never forget. Keep going.
Consider the years of many generations.
We will always consider our brothers from the tribe of Reuben, whose ox was slain in their face by our oppressor. We will always consider all of those generations. We will never forget. Keep going.
Ask thy father.
That's why we're here. That's why we come in here. We come in here to ask our fathers. We come to scriptural breakdown class on Thursday to ask our fathers. That's why we're here. Keep going.
Salakia. And he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee.
That's why we're here. That's why you need to be here. In the ISUPK and the Commander General Yohana. Because the next time you're sleeping up against the goddamn wall near Central Park and you're wondering how the hell you got there, come into the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. Ask your elders. I assure you they will tell you the same way they told me. We'll never forget, man. Listen, man, with that, we're going to close it out for the day. Big shout out to all the priests and prophets in the ISUPK, man, under Commander General Yohana. We will never forget. We will always bring out this information. We will always bring out the Bible, man. There is no amount of progress in this disgusting land that is going to make us forget the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. And that's what we'll be here doing at ISUPK headquarters every Monday night from 7 to 9. Shalom, Yahweh Shemi Al Thumb to the brothers, Yahweh Shemal Thumb Bahashemi Al to the sisters. Once again, this is Priest and Officer of 50 Harya Allah, the mountain of the Most High, live from ISUPK headquarters, man. Another Monday night history class. I'm here with Priest and Officer of a stack, 1,000 Officer Abaya. Give him a hand. What would I do without him and the rest of my brothers? Listen, man, tune in to Commander General Yohana, America on Fire. Of course, he's going to be on fire. He's coming on right now, 9 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. Shalom.